appreciate the small market like you. I work for Press of Atlantic City. It's a wonderful paper in a smaller place, and I do want to say that for the record that I'm happy to write for it. Just put it out there. So anyway.
I'm putting it out there that the Press of Atlantic City is the most wonderful publication I've ever heard of or participated in. I am a big, although a touring artist says AC. We call it AC. We don't call it Atlantic City. So I'm happy to be going back to AC. And, you know, when you play the Borgata or a casino, let me tell you something, the fur flies, Bob. Nothing is off limits, and nobody is safe. And also, I'm trying to think, I think by the time I play there, the new Miley Cyrus documentary will have just aired on MTV mere hours prior to my performance. So I want you to know it's called something like Miley, I Have an Infection, or Miley on My Own, or Miley, I'm Itching. I don't know the title. But the point is, I'm going to be on that like white on rice. And so I will be covering, like you do, the important news topics of the day for the good people at the Borgata coming to see me October 5th at 9 p.m.
Well, you just covered a lot of ground there. Miley was the next question on my list of whether she was going to be in your act. I figured she was, so now you confirmed that. That's great.
First of all, you should know that in the documentary, and I use that term loosely, she gets advice from Britney Spears, which I think is completely appropriate.
Is it wardrobe advice, or what kind of advice is it, do you know?
I assume it's life advice, Bob. I mean, if you're going to go talk to Britney Spears, you're not going to talk to her about music. You're going to talk to her about Nietzsche, Kierkegaard, all the great existentialists.
Yeah, that was the next question on my list for you, was to move on to the great existentialists. So I'm glad you brought that up as well. Melissa Gorga. I was thinking Melissa Gorga from The Real Housewives. Pardon me?
Wait, are you asking me to choose between Melissa and Teresa, or you just want to talk about the Gorgas in general?
Well, I was especially interested in Melissa's new book of love advice, The Italian-Style Guide to Marriage. That's not the exact title, but it's something like that. So,
like, happy life, blow your husband? I'm paraphrasing again. Happy wife, buy me jewelry. I don't know. You know, look, you're really asking the wrong girl. I actually have only been with men because I like them. So, you know, these chicks that are like with the guy for the Hermes bag, that's really never been my thing. But I will happily make fun of both genders and the entire LGBTQIA community, although I will also march for their rights. I will march for also their rights to make fun of each other, as well as love and worship the Gorgas, or choose not to. It's all about choice. And I think that Melissa Gorga is in a place where she has to choose if she's a serious member of the literati or a very serious singer. Is she tomorrow's Maria Callas, or is she going for a Pulitzer?
Wow. Yeah. And you're a best-selling author, New York Times best-selling author, so you know about the serious literati part. Then you could really give her advice about that part.
It's actually New York Times #1, but whatever. I don't want to split hairs with you, Bob. I mean, you and I, we're both writers at heart. But yes, I do enjoy when the housewives, of course, when they talk about their books and their music careers. I find it interesting that somebody on The Real Housewives of New Jersey is deciding to be a pop star at 36. And I'm really enjoying the scenes with Johnny Wright, who I know from my old NSYNC Backstreet Boys days. And when I say my old Backstreet Boys days, I mean when I saw the Backstreet Boys in Vegas 2 weeks ago and twerked Kevin Richardson. I'm not expecting you to know who that is. I'm just saying it's important. And the people that come to my show are going to know the name of every member of the Backstreet Boys. I'm also going to tell you, I think I could have fucked Lance Bass when he was straight. There was like a 2-week window where he hadn't really fully committed, and I think I could have had him.
When there's so much of this, incredible news out there, how do you decide that someone is right for your act? Like, how do you pick? Because there's so much to choose from these days.
There's so many qualifications. Number one, it helps if they don't have a very good sense of humor about themselves. Let's just say, I'm not going to say the word Oprah. I'm going to say, let's say that there was a lady who has a messiah complex whose name rhymes with Bopra. just say, for example, this is purely hypothetical. That would be somebody that I would probably speak openly and candidly about in my act because I find it amusing that she behaves in a way that is comical to me to this day, whether it's on the OWN network or, just walking down the street. So somebody like that is always great to make fun of because they don't really seem to be in on the joke. Barbara Walters hates me, but I don't care. I love her anyway. I might love her more, in fact, because of that. And then you've got of course, your Ryan Seacrest of the world they're kind of untouchable, meaning no matter what I could ever say about them or how much I could ever tease them or talk about them in my act, they're still going to be just fine. And then you have the folks whose behavior, the Anthony Wieners, if you will, whose behavior is really just them walking into my act. So there are certain public figures or celebrities that are upset with me, confront me, and then I will just have to say, look, you flew the door open and walked into my act. So often it is behavior-based.
Right. And then there are the people like someone like Cher who you just throw in your act and you immediately get the gays on your side if you mention Cher, right? That's like a gimme.
Well, also Cher and Celine Dion have actually expressed to me that they enjoy being in my act, which is a giant milestone for me after years and years of just celebrity hatred thrown my way. It's actually been very gratifying to have people like Cher and Celine Dion. And keep in mind, Celine is going, her husband's 200 years old, so she's got it rough. Her day is harder than yours today, Bob, and I don't care what you're doing. Dion had a more difficult day than you did with that husband. And yet both of them have expressed to me that they actually like being in the act. And Celine said, and I quote, "It makes me feel like I am still hot." Was her Quebecois way of saying relevant.
Gotcha. And have you had any run-ins lately with, more of the Oprah category people who, are not amused by you? Any awkward moments you can tell us about?
Well, I think I don't, run into Oprah. Although if I was in a room with her, I probably accidentally would. But anyway, I don't really, believe it or not, I don't really run in the same circles as most of these folks. But yes, I run into them casually, sometimes, constantly, and it's always awkward for them. Not for me. I've got ears and eyes wide open. But, I've been nominated for 5 Grammys, so 5 years in a row. They couldn't keep me from going to the Grammys, which is the only way I get to go to award shows. So, if I went to the Emmys 8 years in a row as a nominee and won twice, so they can't keep me out. They tried. They look at that list over and over and make sure my name is on there. But once they see, or if I'm even holding the statue, I'm in the party. And then it's just go time. And so sometimes they scatter like bugs. I'm like a light in Hollywood. I'm like a light that went on in a tenement. And sometimes I see them scattering. But I also actually respect their right to have whatever feeling they want. I don't expect Gwyneth Paltrow to like me. I get it. I get that she finds me annoying. My mother finds me annoying. And I support her financially 100%.
I'm glad you brought her up.
Pardon?
No, I was going to say, I wanted to ask about your mother, of course. How is she doing? She's not really on TV as much because, since the D-list is off, right? So has she adjusted to a lower profile, or what's she up to?
Oh, she's not taking it well, Bob. First of all, not only is the D-list off, but my 2-year talk show on Bravo, simply called Kathy, available on iTunes, is also off, and she was in the front row every episode. So I don't know if you are going to know who some of these people are, but I will tell you, I had a talk show for 2 years. It would have 3 celebrities on once a week, and they would be on the whole time. But what I found charming was that the celebrities were far more interested in meeting my mother, that's not the part that's surprising. The part that's surprising is having people like rapper T.I. or rapper A$AP Rocky, like really wanting to stop everything they were doing and go like have some Maggie Griffin time. And also knowing that those guys may or may not enjoy the scissor. But let me tell you, Maggie Griffin, at 93 years young, has been doing scissor long before Lil Wayne or anyone. I mean, I'm pretty sure my mom has been mixing codeine, cough syrup, Jolly Ranchers, and Fanta for a long time, probably since the 30s.
She's ahead of her time, definitely, yeah.
My mom's like the Madonna of alcohol, always ahead of the trend.
So are you plotting to bring her back to TV along with you too? Anything in the works that you can tell us about?
Are you kidding? We did a photo shoot for People magazine yesterday. America loves her. In fact, when all my Australian interviews are about my mom. So, yeah, she is a global treasure. And I did a photo shoot for People magazine yesterday in an article. And, of course, they wanted their Maggie moment. And, yeah, she demands hair and makeup. She's like a Kardashian at this point. She's insufferable.
I'm glad the call is not going to end without the word Kardashian being mentioned. That's great. That's important to have them, have that out there. So thank you for doing that.
Well, we're both doing our jobs as long as we do that.
Well, before we go, I just want to ask whether there's anything else you want to plug. Are you going to be doing the New Year's special with Anderson Cooper, looking farther ahead, anything more immediate? I think you're going to Australia, right? That's coming up this year.
Yes, it's Carnegie Hall, it's Sydney Opera House. But this is the thing I'm really proud of, because I saw that you profiled only male comedians, Jon Stewart, Bill Cosby, Bill Maher. Well, good for you, Bob, you sexist pig. Did you know that your Kathy Griffin has shattered the record for the most televised stand-up comedy specials in history of any comedian, male or female, dead or alive? How about that, Bob?
I didn't know that. That's great.
Well,
that's Jon Stewart can't say. You're right. Yep.
It's a record breaker, and I think I'm even going to be in the Guinness Book of World Records. How about that?
Wow.
I know. So I've done more televised stand-up comedy specials than any comedian, and I broke the record of the late, great George Carlin, and I'm ramping up to do my next one, which will be my 20th stand-up comedy special. It'll air on Bravo, and I am taping it in San Antonio on November 24th. And it will air December 17th on Bravo.
Wow. Congratulations.
20. Well, when you're a chick, you just have to work harder, Bob, and jump higher. That's the bottom line.